There is a specific kind of tired that has nothing to do with sleep. You know this feeling all too well. Your body rests, but your mind is constantly running on an endless treadmill. You wake up exhausted. The weight of financial anxiety is already sitting heavily on your chest. And no matter how many hours you work, the breakthrough you were promised never seems to arrive. If I asked you what it takes to build wealth, what would you say? You would probably say relentless hustle. You have been completely lied to. Society teaches you to burn yourself out chasing money. Millions of men work themselves into an early grave and still die broke. You think you need to work harder. But hard work alone is the biggest illusion of the modern world. You feel entirely stuck. You set the goals. You put in the hours while the rest of the world sleeps. You have read the books about the law of attraction. You visualize your perfect life every single morning. And yet reality remains stubbornly unchanged. It feels as though you are driving a fast car with the emergency brake pulled tight. I am here to tell you something crucial. It is not a lack of effort. You do not have a motivation problem. You have a programming problem. Deep within the architecture of your subconscious mind, an outdated script is running on an endless loop. This invisible software is quietly sabotaging every conscious step you take toward wealth and peace. Until you rewrite that script, every empire you try to build will collapse. You sacrifice your time with your loved ones. You skip the moments of rest. You tell yourself that one day it will all be worth it. But days turn into months. Months bleed into long years. And that distant day of financial freedom keeps moving further away. The fatigue settles deeply into your bones. You start to wonder if you are simply cursed from the very beginning. Your conscious mind desperately wants to be wealthy. It reads the daily affirmations. It sets the ambitious targets. But your conscious mind is only a tiny fraction of the equation. Beneath the surface lies a massive, invisible engine of subconscious programming. If your internal engine is broken, it will violently reject every financial opportunity that comes your way. The universe does not respond to your conscious desires. It responds to your dominant frequency. Your brain is a biological broadcasting station, but right now it is trapped broadcasting a survival wave. Every time you worry about a bill, you reinforce this poverty signal. Your mind spends its energy building a reality of absolute scarcity for you to wake up in. Before we dive deeper, I want to plant a seed in your mind. There is something hidden from the public. It is something discovered not in a motivational book, but inside a classified CIA laboratory. It is a biological secret funded by elite billionaires and verified by top-tier neuroscience. It perfectly explains the frustrating gap between the wealth you visualize and your current reality. I will reveal exactly what this is before we finish today. But first, you must understand why the financial deck was stacked against you from birth. So hold this important question in your mind. What if your struggle to attract abundance is not a lack of hustle? What if it is simply a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on? The answer will change everything you know. There are two kinds of people in this world. The drifter lets society dictate his fate. The creator forces reality to bend to his disciplined will. You are watching this because you belong to the latter. You are a true visionary. You have felt the call to greatness, but perhaps you do not yet know how to structure it. You are tired of being a victim to your circumstances. Stop what you are doing and listen. Truly listen. Because the next few minutes will determine whether you spend the rest of your life as a drifter or as a king. The world is full of men who wish for wealth. They beg the universe for a sudden windfall. But the universe does not respond to beggars. It responds to sovereign commanders who take absolute control of their frequency. Look at the wealthy elite. They do not sweat and bleed for every single dollar. They attract opportunities effortlessly. They seem to glide through life while you carry the massive weight of the world. Do you really believe they are just smarter than you? They are not. They are simply operating on a different biological frequency. Their internal receiver is fully turned on. You go to war with your own self-doubt every single night. You lie awake calculating how to survive the month. This constant state of panic is exactly what the system wants. A mind in panic cannot create. A mind in survival mode cannot attract true abundance. You are literally programming your own failure while you rest. The system is designed to keep your frequency suppressed. But today is the day you take back control. You must become the gatekeeper of your mind. You must stop accepting the crumbs left behind by the 1%. It is time to rip that outdated script out by its roots. I am going to show you how to locate the hidden block. You will learn to reprogram your mind to attract success as effortlessly as gravity pulls a stone to the earth. We will tear down the habits of the average man. We will install the mental framework of a true architect of destiny. Prepare yourself mentally right now. You are about to step into an immense power you always had but never knew how to use. This is not mere philosophy. This is a timeless law. Like gravity, it works with absolute certainty whether you believe in it or not. But before we can rebuild the temple, we must inspect the dark foundation. You need to understand the exact architecture of your own brain. There is a tiny piece of anatomy that dictates your entire financial future. The drifter will ignore this critical warning. The creator will listen closely and equip himself. Let us examine the true nature of your invisible enemy. Here is the brutal truth the elite do not want you to know. The reason the universe responds to the 1% and leaves you struggling is not because they work harder. It is not because they visualize better, and it certainly is not because they have stronger discipline. It is entirely biological. Your lack of wealth is rooted in your physical anatomy. Deep inside your brain is a tiny region called the hippocampus. In the insanely wealthy, this region is thick and highly developed. It is constantly broadcasting a microscopic frequency that literally pulls money toward them. It acts like a powerful vacuum for lucrative opportunities. They do not chase wealth because their brain naturally magnetizes it. But for the average person, the reality is much darker. Because you were not born into an 8-figure family, you inherited a biological disadvantage. Science calls it a shrunken hippocampus. Instead of broadcasting a wealth frequency, your brain is trapped broadcasting a survival wave. You are operating on a broken frequency, and the modern world keeps it exactly that way. Every time you stress over money, this tiny region shrinks a little more. The endless stacks of bills and exhausting hustle culture crush your internal receiver. Your natural ability to attract abundance is pushed deeper into dormancy. This is the invisible enemy sabotaging your life. You are fighting a silent war against your own nervous system. This explains why you can practice the law of attraction for years with zero results. You demand to manifest wealth while your internal receiver is completely powered down. You end up chasing money endlessly while the elite simply let it flow to them. It is a biological block passed down from generation to generation. It quietly destroys your highest potential. Most men will go to their graves believing they just did not work hard enough. The drifter accepts this fate and complains about the unfairness of the world. You are not most men. You are a creator. And remember the question I asked you to hold earlier, the one about whether your struggle was just a dormant frequency waiting to be switched on. You are about to see that the answer is scientifically proven. It is closer than you could ever imagine, but you must first accept absolute responsibility for your current state. Society programmed you to fail, but remaining a victim is your choice. You must step up and become the sovereign commander of your mind. Hesitation is the ultimate enemy of wealth. Let us look closely at the survival wave. When your hippocampus is shrunken, your brain perceives everything as a deadly threat. You make decisions based on fear rather than vision. You reject lucrative synchronicities because they look like risks. You are literally blind to the wealth circulating around you. The universe offers you a kingdom, but your brain demands a cage. The law of attraction is absolutely real. But it requires a functioning biological receiver to manifest physical results. Your thoughts are seeds, your actions are water, and your reality is the harvest. But a shrunken hippocampus is like toxic soil. No matter how many positive seeds you plant, nothing of value can grow. You must rebuild the soil first. The architect of destiny understands this fundamental law. He does not repeat empty affirmations. He does not wait for a sudden windfall. He seeks the precise mechanism to reprogram his biological hardware. You cannot outwill a misprogrammed mind. You must systematically recode it from the inside out. This requires unwavering discipline and focus. You think you are losing your mind because you constantly feel exhausted. You no longer relate to your old friends who accept their mediocre lives, but here is the truth no one tells you. You are not losing your mind. You are losing your old programming. Your subconscious is actively fighting the survival wave. It is demanding a complete revolution. This internal friction is a powerful sign of awakening. The drifter feels this friction and numbs it with cheap entertainment. The builder feels the exact same friction and uses it as pure fuel. He knows that the universe works by law and not by clock. The pain of your current financial state is just data. It is the raw material you will use to forge your empire. Every single day you spend in survival mode costs you dearly. The massive financial windfalls arranged for you do not arrive out of thin air. They arrive as opportunities you must quickly recognize. A brain trapped in a survival wave misses the recognition completely. Every day of suppression is another golden opportunity that slips away. You are paying a massive tax for ignorance. I want you to write this down in your mind. I am the master of my focus. I am the cause and not the effect of my reality. Say it until your physical body believes it. This is the first step in starving the survival wave. You must stop giving your energy to the phantom fears of tomorrow. You must command your attention with ruthless discipline. The elite 1% understand the power of this focused attention. They guard their mental energy like it is absolute gold. They do not consume the daily news. They do not engage in petty arguments. They maintain a cold calmness when facing massive adversity. They know that a panicked mind shrinks the hippocampus even further. They refuse to participate in the chaos. You must adopt this exact same cosmic housekeeping. You must be ruthless in cutting out the toxic noise. If a relationship or a habit feeds your survival wave, you must sever it immediately. You are building an empire in the dark. The invisible season requires your absolute, undivided loyalty to the vision. There is no room for weakness on this path, but protecting your energy is only step one. A true sovereign commander does not just defend his territory. He rapidly expands it. Now that you understand the biological enemy, you must learn how to defeat it. You must discover how to force that dormant region of your brain to grow. And that brings us to the hidden laws of mental alchemy. How did a man with no education and no money build the largest steel empire in history? It was certainly not luck. Andrew Carnegie and Thomas Edison spent years trying to unravel the mysteries of the human brain. They knew that wealth is not created by physical labor. It is generated by an invisible biological power. They possessed a highly active hippocampus long before science could name it. These titans used specific mental protocols to activate their abundance frequency. They spent hours in deep silence to bypass their conscious thoughts. They forced their brains out of the survival wave through sheer willpower, but they had to dedicate their entire lives to mastering this obscure state. The modern man does not have decades to sit in silent meditation. You need a faster mechanism. Before we go any further, I have to share a breakthrough that changes everything. Something the elite billionaires have spent vast fortunes to keep hidden from the public. Modern science has finally caught up with ancient wisdom. Classified CIA research recently confirmed the existence of a microscopic wealth attraction brainwave. It is entirely dormant in 99% of the population. Researchers on the campuses of Harvard and Yale are observing this exact brainwave activation right now. 4 independent neuroscience labs verified the data. A rogue neuroscientist formerly working on top-secret CIA experiments recently leaked a shocking discovery. He and a team of top-tier researchers found a way to wake up that dormant wealth frequency. They discovered how to rapidly grow the hippocampus, and they did not do it through decades of exhausting meditation or relentless journaling. They did not force you to wake up at 4 in the morning to force a hustle mindset. They discovered something infinitely simpler and far more powerful. They engineered a precise and perfectly calibrated 7-minute acoustic wave. It is a specific binaural sound frequency that bypasses conscious resistance. When listened to, this specific acoustic wave directly stimulates that tiny region of your brain. It forces your mind to stop broadcasting the survival wave. It immediately flips the switch on your natural biological ability to attract wealth. It is a completely effortless at-home ritual. Just 7 minutes a day, and the energetic shift begins the very first time you listen. The elite billionaires pay teams of lawyers to keep this neuroacoustic technology hidden. They profit immensely from your endless hustle and financial anxiety. But their monopoly on this biological cheat code is finally breaking. I will tell you exactly what this tool is called and how you can access it before this message ends. But first, there is one more critical piece of the puzzle. You must understand why the law of attraction has been failing you all these years. You feel a deep frustration when you look at your current bank account. You think this frustration is a sign of your ultimate failure, but the opposite is actually true. This intense dissatisfaction is a paradoxical thing. It is your subconscious mind screaming for a different biological frequency. When the drifter feels frustrated, he numbs himself with cheap dopamine. He accepts the heavy chains of his environment. But the Creator recognizes frustration as a sacred alarm bell. Your current financial pain is just a symptom of a suppressed brainwave trying to break free. It is the raw energy you will use to completely rewire your destiny. You must learn to harness this exact pain. Your conscious mind only processes a tiny fraction of your reality. It is the gatekeeper, but it is easily overwhelmed by daily stress. When you try to force positive thoughts, the gatekeeper blocks them. It looks at your empty bank account and rejects your affirmations as lies. This is why traditional manifestation fails. You cannot negotiate with a gatekeeper locked in a survival state. To execute this law effectively, you must bypass the conscious noise completely. You must deliver the instructions directly to the subconscious engine room. The 7-minute sound wave slips past the gatekeeper without waking it up. It speaks the native language of your deep brain chemistry. It installs the mindset of a titan while you simply close your eyes and breathe. This is where modern neuroscience meets timeless spiritual wisdom. The universe works by absolute law. If you tune a radio to the frequency of poverty, you will only hear the music of struggle. If you tune it to the frequency of absolute abundance, wealth becomes inevitable. You are the sovereign commander of your own dial. You can no longer blame the economy for your broken receiver. Stop making excuses for your current situation. Take full dominion over your mental architecture right now. The drifter waits for circumstances to change before he changes his mind. The architect changes his mind to force circumstances to obey. Which one are you? You must decide if you are willing to abandon the comfortable identity of a victim and step into ultimate power. Your subconscious is a tireless contractor. It builds exactly what you instruct it to build before you fall asleep. If you feed it the anxiety of unpaid bills, it constructs a prison. If you feed it the frequency of a king, it constructs a massive empire. You must learn how to properly commission this contractor. This requires a specific daily ritual to cleanse the mental workspace. Now we are getting close to the thing you can actually do. Understanding the biological mechanism is only half the battle. You must prepare your physical body to receive this massive energetic shift. A dirty vessel cannot hold pure water. Before you can activate the wealth frequency, you must execute a strict mental purge. Let us examine the exact ritual you must perform tonight. Let us make this entirely practical. You cannot just listen to these heavy words and return to your chaotic daily life. You must establish a strict night ritual. This is the exact unseen practice of the elite 1%. Your subconscious mind is highly vulnerable in the 15 minutes before you fall asleep. What you do during this tiny window dictates your entire tomorrow. The average man spends his final waking moments consuming pure garbage. He watches the evening news. He scrolls through the endless digital noise of other people living their lives. He goes to sleep, vibrating on a frequency of deep fear and bitter envy, and he wonders why he wakes up feeling completely exhausted and entirely broke. You must stop this immediately. I command you to cut off all digital inputs 30 minutes before you sleep. This is not a polite suggestion. It is a rigid cosmic law of mental housekeeping. If you want to command the wealth of the universe, you must first command your own attention. The universe absolutely does not reward the undisciplined mind. Close your eyes right now. Imagine the sheer volume of useless information you have fed your brain today. Every petty argument and every piece of negative news is toxic sludge. It is actively suffocating your hippocampus. You must starve these invisible parasites. You must protect your mental architecture with absolute ruthless aggression. Your first daily ritual is the absolute purge. You will sit in total silence in your room. You will not plan for tomorrow, and you will not regret the miserable mistakes of today. You will simply sit and observe the frantic noise of your own mind. Let the deep anxiety bubble up to the surface. And then you will consciously decide to let it completely go. Say this aloud right now. I release all fear, and I command my dominant frequency. Say it again with absolute unshakable power. Your voice is a physical vibration that literally programs the room around you. The drifter feels silly speaking to himself. The architect of destiny understands that his spoken word is a literal, binding contract. Once the vessel is finally empty, you must give your subconscious its new work. Remember that the subconscious is a tireless contractor who never sleeps. You must hand it a remarkably precise blueprint. You must formulate your definite chief aim. This is not a vague wish for more money. It is a razor-sharp target that leaves no room for doubt. Write your definite purpose down on a piece of paper tonight. State the exact amount of wealth you demand from the universe, and state exactly what you intend to give in return for this wealth. There is no something for nothing in this harsh life. The universe requires an energetic exchange. You must declare your massive value before you can ever receive it. Read this powerful statement every single night. Read it until the words burn themselves deep into your neural pathways. You act as if nothing is impossible because nothing is when you truly believe. The physical reality will always lag far behind your mental reality. You must remain stone-cold calm while you wait for the physical world to catch up. This brings us to the most difficult law of all. You must act as if you are already the sovereign commander of a massive fortune. How does a billionaire walk into a room? How does he speak to other people? He does not rush out of blind panic. He does not complain endlessly about the economy. He moves with a quiet and undeniable certainty. You must emulate this exact certainty, even if your bank account is totally empty. This is not faking it until you make it, but rather tuning your biological receiver to the frequency of the reality you deeply desire. If you act like a victim, your brain will broadcast a survival wave. You must break this vicious cycle through sheer force of will. Your old friends will quickly notice this sudden shift. They will tell you that you are acting arrogant, and they will try to drag you back down into their very comfortable misery. You must cut them off without a single apology. You are a magnetic force pulling yourself out of the muddy swamp. You cannot carry dead weight while you are learning how to fly. Isolation is the ultimate price of rapid evolution. Do not fear the quiet and lonely season of your life. The seed must be buried in dark dirt before it can ever break the surface. You are building an empire in the invisible realm. Let the average men mock your silent dedication. Their laughter will turn into absolute silence when your harvest arrives. You now know the paradoxical signs. The frustration you feel is simply the old programming dying out. The isolation you feel is the universe clearing the path for massive abundance. Everything is working exactly by universal law. The drifter will hear these instructions and do absolutely nothing. He will wake up tomorrow and repeat his miserable cycle. But you are clearly not a drifter. You have stayed this long because your intuition recognizes the absolute truth, and you are standing on the very edge of a massive biological paradigm shift. The mental preparation is now fully complete. The foundation of your mind has been swept entirely clean. You are finally ready to receive the exact mechanism. This is the exact moment of ultimate decision. Will you try to force this transformation using only your exhausted conscious mind? Or will you equip yourself with the specific neuroacoustic protocol that the elite use? The choice you make right now will dictate the entire financial trajectory of your bloodline. Listen very closely to my next words. The time for drifting is officially over. Remember the question I asked you to hold at the very beginning of this message. What if your financial struggle is not a lack of hustle but a dormant frequency? Here is the final answer. You cannot outwill a misprogrammed mind. You must completely recode it. The universe demands a choice right now. A microscopic wealth attraction frequency is naturally active in the 1%. It is driven by a highly developed hippocampus. Classified CIA research confirmed this exact biological phenomenon. 4 independent neuroscience labs verified it. Dr. Thomas Summers refused to let elite billionaires keep this biological cheat code completely hidden. Before I tell you what his team built, you must hear about 2 people who used it. Emma was a former nurse who felt her family was under a brutal financial curse. She was exhausted and drowning in heavy debt. After just 3 days of listening, she broke the cycle completely. She sold her house for way over the asking price and now travels the world. Michael was a former policeman who started using it to scale his struggling business. Within 5 days, he quadrupled his high-paying clients. He suddenly found himself networking with wealthy elites who put him on television. He said the journey was almost effortlessly crazy. That is because of what Dr. Summers and his researchers finally discovered. They call it the billionaire brainwave. It is not a manifestation app, and it is certainly not a generic motivation tape. It is a highly engineered 7-minute binaural sound wave designed to directly stimulate your hippocampus. That is the entirety of the work required. 7 minutes in the morning with your headphones on while you sip your coffee. You do not journal, and you do not repeat forced affirmations. You simply let the precise frequency rewire your brain to receive abundance. The billionaire brainwave is not for everyone. It is for the true visionary who has already done the deep inner work. It is for the creator who understands that a blocked biological channel is the only true obstacle. Private neuroacoustic sessions to reverse a shrunken hippocampus cost hundreds of dollars per hour. Elite billionaires invest massive fortunes to access this exact state. What Dr. Summers leaked delivers the exact same neurological shift in just 7 minutes. It is available to you today for a tiny fraction of its true clinical value. 4 powerful bonuses are included to support your new reality. You receive a guide to managing massive wealth called the Warren Buffett Pyramid. You also get an exclusive report decoding the 7 lazy millionaire habits. A quick cash manifestation audio is included alongside 500 billionaire success stories to elevate your daily mindset. Here is the deeper truth about waiting. The immense wealth and lucrative synchronicities you have been praying for are already circling you. The blessing is not missing. Your receiver is simply broken. Delaying means letting your massive inheritance remain completely invisible. The visionary who restores their frequency today finally sees the money. Do not look for this on streaming platforms. The internet is heavily flooded with cheap and diluted imitations. The tracks circulating under similar names have zero binaural entrainment technology encoded. They are dangerous fakes meant to keep you trapped. The only authentic version is available through the official link waiting for you right now. This comes with the billionaire's ironclad promise. The universe requires no financial risk from a sovereign commander. If you do not experience a physical and undeniable increase in your wealth, every penny is returned. Find the link in the description and in the pinned comment below. Equip your mind tonight and claim your rightful inheritance. The tool is not the final destination. It simply repairs your biological receiver so the wealth you visualize can finally materialize. Abundance is your birthright, and the universe requires no transaction for you to deserve it. What the researchers built is just one accelerator. Let us go deeper into preparing your mind for the massive opportunities. A restored frequency can open the heavy door to abundance, but your billionaire mindset must still possess the courage to walk through it. Those are two completely different things, and they are both true. You must remain vigilant against the creeping shadows of doubt. A master does not suddenly abandon his discipline just because the sun begins to shine. The universe will absolutely test your new resolve. It will send minor inconveniences to see if you revert back to your survival wave. When the unexpected bill arrives, you must look at it with absolute cold calmness. You must smile because you know your internal engine is already generating the solution. Fear is no longer allowed in your temple. If your intuition confirms that the frequency tool described earlier is the missing key, the path remains open in the description below. That is the final time I will mention it. The path to abundance is there for the one it is strictly meant for. What follows now belongs entirely to the sealing of your new mindset. The ultimate transformation begins. The time for drifting is officially over. You have heard the absolute law. You now know that every excuse you have ever made was nothing but a shadow on the wall. Tonight, as you close your eyes, you must make a permanent choice. Will you return to the chaos of the masses, or will you step boldly into the quiet power of the elite 1%? If you are ready to command your destiny, seal your decision right now. Write your definite purpose in the comments below. Let those words be the physical contract you sign with the universe. Subscribe to this channel if you walk this specific path. Return to this lesson every single night until your new reality completely bends to your will.